Hello, everyone. Tina Hogan Grant here with my Cuppa A Natter. It's a live chat that I like to do twice a month on a Monday. I like to bring authors into my home and we talk about books, life as an author, what we're working on, and whatever comes to mind. And tonight, author Ashley Cobb Post is joining me. How are you this evening, my dear?
Fine, fine. Happy holidays to everybody. Hope you had a Merry Christmas yesterday.
You too. We had a full house. It was a lot of fun. I have my son here and his family, and then my best friend and her kids. So we had a busy day and a lot of cooking.
Yeah.
We cooked a big breakfast with blueberry pancakes and sausage and bacon and eggs, and then we cooked a turkey and had that in the afternoon. So there was food all day long. I did want to mention that Ashley Cobb Post is your pen name, and you
Yes.
also go by the name Katie Mursky. Mursky.
Yes.
Now, you want me to call you Ashley for this chat?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure which one I'm
Less
calling you.
confusing.
Okay, well, thank you. Before we get started, I see that a few people are joining us. I want to say hi to them and welcome them. We have Darlene Johnson here. Darlene Johnson is here. Karen Wright says, "Hey, you all." Mandy Haynes is here. Hey, guys.
Hey,
Hey, Mandy. And Barbara Miller. She's chilly. It's chilly in Northeast Florida. Lori Chasco is here. She says hello. And we do have a Facebook user, which means that tells me you're in my group, which is private. And Mandy says, "Hey, neighbors, I'm on Amelia Island." That sounds like a nice place to be. It really does.
it is
Amelia
wonderful. I've
Island.
been there once.
Huh? You've been there?
I've been there once. It's not, it's down the road from me.
It
A few
sounds
hours.
it sounds like a great getaway. It really does. Karen Wright is making tacos for dinner. Sherry says hello, all. Kimberly says hello. So, Ashley, I'm excited to talk to you about your books. But before we get into your books, can you just give us a little background on you? Anything you want to share with the rest of the world?
Okay. Well, some of you know my background. I was a single mom slash dad, and raised, he's now 26, a multicultural child in the South. And they say, write what you know. So that's what I did. All of my books are interracial romances, Southern
Excellent.
romances.
And you're like me. You got your first book published later in life, didn't you?
Yes, I was 60 and it was during the pandemic. In fact, well, technically, because I guess, yeah, since um, pandemic is still kind of going on, people are still getting COVID. All three of my books I published during the pandemic.
Congratulations, though.
Thank
Congratulations. I
you.
mean, there is no age limit on what we want to achieve in life, and I try and stress that all the time. Whether it be you're 20, you're 30, you're 40, you're 50, you're 60, you're 70, don't ever give up. And if there's something that you really, really want to do, just do it, right?
Yeah, my idol was Mary Higgins Clark. She
Okay.
got hers later in life. I believe she was 55, and she wrote her last book. Yeah, literally before she passed away last year, and she was in her mid 90s almost.
Yeah, we lost a great author there. I love her book.
I loved her to death.
I did. I didn't realize she had a late start either. She was 55.
Yeah, I believe so.
She wrote
Yeah,
a lot of books.
yeah.
She did. And with you, which was your first book? I see two behind you. So which was your first one?
Yeah. Well, don't don't judge a book. Dot dot dot. Because we all know the phrase was the
Right.
first book, and in fact, you'll get to see more close up picture of Damien in this one. This is, and the one that I just came out with is my first and only sequel, which is A Journey to Repentance.
And I
It's
have
the
my copy right
sequel.
here too. Ta-da!
Yeah. And in between, I did a book called Crimson Moonlight. With it was shorter book, and it was a completely different set of characters.
Okay, so the first one and this one is related. Book 1 and
Yes.
book 2. Will there be a book 3?
No.
Nope, that's it.
No, that's it. I'm leaving the series to you. I can't.
You don't like writing a series?
No, it was. Yeah, I have a couple of big, huge notebooks that I had to keep going back to and do timelines, tracking, and keep going back and forth to make sure, like in the beginning writing this, and I'm glad I had that journal. Two of the main characters, Damien and Kenny, I had switched their height.
Oops.
And so I had to go back and fix it. So, it just got a little complicated.
It's
so
a challenge. I mean, I'm on, well, I'm not on it yet. When I start the next book in the Sabella series, it's going to be book 8. So it's been like 3 years since I wrote book 1, which is Slater. And there's, characteristics of each character that, that I pointed out in the first book, and they might come up again in book 8. But what helps me is I do a spreadsheet. And that's
kind of what I do.
All the characters' names, and then it'll be like a column for the age, who the mother is, who the brother is, who the sister is, how they like whatever comes up in the book, how they like their coffee, what's their favorite color. So I can refer to that. But it is a challenge. And with mine, the Sabella series in book 8, this will be the last book. I keep saying that for the last 3 books, but this will be the last.
You got to do Slater and Sabella. Yeah.
Right. But this will be the last book. I'm not going to let the characters control it. I'm going to have the last say, and I want it to be the last book because I have other series I want to write. But I have to make sure that I don't leave anything, unanswered before I finish this book. And that's the thing about a series. So I will probably read all 7 books before I write book 8. Just in case there's some unanswered questions that I need to cover in the final book. And that's one of the things with the series. You have to make sure there's nothing left untold. So.
Yeah, with the first book, I went and reread it twice. And then I had started doing this right after I had published Don't Judge. And because I had several people who were asking questions, why is Damien the way he is and everything else? And so and they wanted to hear a little bit more about other people's background and what happens with them. So.
Right. So that's why you wrote book 2.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I do want to take another pause. I see some more people joining us. I want to involve them in our chat. Again, hello, everyone. I am talking to Ashley Cobb Post. We are discussing her books. And if you have any questions for Ashley, go ahead and put them in the comments. I will try and get to them as soon as I can, but I do want to pop up some more readers that are joining us. We have Lori. She says, hi, Tina and Ashley. Mandy has a comment. Famous last words. I'm not going to let the characters have the last say. I know, Mandy. I'm going to try and have the last word in this book. Every time I sit down to write, they're in my head, and they a lot of times will win. But I am determined to make this book 8 the final book. Okay, we have a question here for you, Ashley. Kimberly is asking, are your books based on real life or your imagination?
Actually, Don't Judge and also Journey, but Don't Judge especially. And I've been real open about this. I'm an adult survivor of childhood trauma. And when I got a little older and stuff, when I became an adult and started opening up about it, I wrote journals. And so basically 10 years worth of journals I turned into the book. Francesca Stefani, she's Sicilian like me, and she's a survivor of childhood trauma. And from that, it shows it kind of took a life of its own where she didn't make the best decisions when it came to relationships and everything. And so, that is and with the interracial and everything. And then, we'll get when you asked me more questions about Journey. Yeah, Journey is about three people and how they deal with a traumatic event has happened, how they deal with the different stages of grief.
Okay.
And so, yeah, later I'll tell you what helped me through that, and that was very, yeah, that book was rather traumatic for me to write and get through.
Writing can be fantastic therapy. It really can. And like you said earlier in the chat, we write what we know.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, when I first wrote my debut novel, it was also therapy. And people that have read it know why. It was
Oh
because of the
yeah,
bad
I love
choices.
that series.
Well, thank you. But it's
Yeah,
because of
I
the
love
bad
that.
choices that we made. But writing it down and sharing it with others releases a lot of, for me, unanswered questions. And it also made me understand myself so much better on why I made now I look at it and go, ridiculous, stupid, whatever you want to call it, choices. But
Yeah, blind choices I
yeah,
call
but
them.
it's all about learning. It's a learning curve. I'm 50, almost 59. And I said to myself, well, now I'll never do that again. But I had to make those choices in order to learn from it. So in a way, it made me a much stronger person. And I'm sure it's the same way for
Oh,
you.
definitely. There's no way I could have. Well, they say it takes a village, which some people say it shouldn't, but it did. I in my book, there are different people that I call family. All three of my books, I'll say the two main things, but the biggest theme is family,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not necessarily blood related family, and a lot of these characters, and I've gotten their permission, are in the book because they're family to me.
Right. You get,
And I wouldn't have been able to, yeah, raise my child and all without them, because my parents lived several states away, and it just, I had their emotional support, but not on a daily basis and everything. And these are people who have been in my life. Like one person, the Brian character, who's my brother and stuff, he's been my brother for over 40 years. And
oh, wow.
all. So yeah. And you were talking about the so much food and everything else. He's the one that started the tradition, and I think I posted on your site, what did you have for traditional food? Yesterday morning we had our traditional spinach quiche breakfast.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah,
That was good.
that, and then I made the Italian to kind of nosh on for the evening meal, stromboli, which is a big, huge pastry, and then it has meats and cheeses, and it's rolled up in this pastry. You put EVO on, extra virgin olive oil, and grated Parmesan on it.
That
And
sounds yummy.
yeah,
It sounds, yeah. Yeah, I made turkey stew today with my leftovers. So we're eating that for the next 3 days. Turkey stew
oh,
every night for dinner. But I love that because I don't have to cook.
yeah. Well, the stromboli is going to last for several days, and
Oh, there you go.
things
Perfect.
the way.
Perfect.
So yeah.
I saw a couple of more questions here that I do want to. Oh, Kathy is here. I like to involve the readers. She's from Boston. And
I
Virgie
love
Lane is here.
Boston. If I didn't live in Charleston, I would live in Boston.
I've been to Boston once and I loved it. I went there with my dad. He lived in Acton, which is, I think, 20 miles out of Boston. But he took me to the Science Museum and the Hancock Tower. But I loved it. Boston was beautiful. But
Yeah.
this is back in, God, the 70s or 80s. It's a lot. I don't know what it is like now, but I hear it's still gorgeous. It's still
It
gorgeous.
is. I was just there this summer. I went for a revisit. To me, Boston, I moved here from Atlanta 30 years ago. And of course, my books take place in Atlanta and Charleston.
Right.
But yeah, to me, Boston is Atlanta meets Charleston. You have the um, historic places, and everybody is so friendly, which kind of surprised me about Boston. But everybody was friendly. But then you have the theater district and the business district, like Atlanta. So
Right.
That's what Boston reminds me of, as Atlanta
Yeah,
meets
I
Charlotte.
was in my teens when I went there, so it's been a long time ago. But I remember it being really beautiful. But Virgie Lane does have a question for you about your writing. She wants to know: do you outline your books or just go with an idea?
Oh, I am a plotter to the nth degree. I do an overall
Really?
outline, and then I know generally what's going to happen in each chapter because I start out in the present, usually a traumatic event to get your attention, and then alternate with present and past. And then towards the end, the last few chapters, they meet and then go into future chapters. But as I get to each chapter, I then plot even more. I'm more defined on the outline.
Now you say in this the two books, past and present.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll write other books like that? Is that a style you like to write in?
That's the way I do it, actually. Yeah, I
Yeah.
stole that from Mary Higgins Clark. So
Okay.
she
That's
did.
good.
I love her suspense. But yeah, I did that. Now, Crimson Moonlight was a shorter one. It was a not little bit longer than a novella and all, but that just happened over a year time, and that went straight through. That was more a holiday story.
Okay.
But yeah, I enjoy doing that. In fact, like my fourth book that's going to come out probably around Halloween, I'm about uh 75% done with it.
Yay!
Yeah, yeah, it's called Canary Nights, and actually it has the interracial element, but I would call it romance suspense. It is definitely very suspenseful, and there is a secret, and it takes place in the mythical town, which is really where Helen, Georgia is, near the Appalachian Mountains in Georgia, called Sanctuary, Georgia. And there is no real place called Sanctuary,
Okay.
Georgia. But yeah, I have to research. That's the other thing. I research to death everything.
Wow. Now you said that you plot your books.
Oh yeah,
Do
definitely.
they ever, go take their own course and things change from what you plotted?
Yeah, with Don't Judge, the Kenny character, Dr. Kenneth Underwood, he was supposed to be background material for in Don't Judge. The main character, love interest, is Francesca Stefani. He was supposed to be a background character, the type of person she used to date. Because in Don't Judge, she meets somebody her age through the classifieds, the original personals, because it starts out in 1994. And Kenny, it sounds weird. Kenny just spoke to me. And next thing you know, I added 70 more pages to it. And he is one of the primary characters in the sequel. So
And you weren't expecting it.
wrote himself in there and just spoke to me. So sometimes it
It goes
it
off course.
changes.
How about the ending? Does the ending ever change, or are you pretty firm about the ending of the book?
I'm pretty firm about the ending, although with I was Don't Judge, I did kind of end it differently than what I originally thought without giving it away. And the ending to Journey, yeah, I added a twist in there
There
because
you did. Mm-hmm.
yeah, you
Yeah.
thought one thing and I was going to do that, and then I told you what my rule is, but I won't
You
disclose
went
it.
with it, and I love that. I love that.
That-
Kimberly has have a question about the second book, so I'm going to put that up. She's asking Journey. Journey is the second book, and she wants to just give a little details about what it's about.
Okay, like I said, it's a continuation,
And it's
and
this.
there's three people. Yeah, there's three people in it. This is Jasmine, and then Kenny, who's like everybody. Yeah, that. that's my dream person. That's my perfect man. And and then um, and then Damian Summers. And without giving too much away, a traumatic event happens, and they all kind of get intertwined, and they have to work together. But they're all going through the stages of grief in their own way. And Damien always adds an extra thing in there. He can never have anything on an even keel, and ends up bringing an extra element, kind of going back to his old ways. You think he's going to change, and then he goes back to his old ways.
There you go. Leave it at that without giving anything away.
Yeah.
And Kathy has a question for you. She's asking, what made you decide to write books?
My mother. She was an educator, and her and I used to read books. She used to read to me, and then used to do creative writing and everything else. And I really enjoyed it. And she gave me lots of encouragement. She was in education. And then when I left home, she introduced me to Mary Higgins Clark where the children came out. And we kind of did our own version of a book club through old-fashioned letter writing, and then emails, and then eventually over the phone and everything else. She was never really into Facebook and all of that and live chat. So yeah, it was through emails or conversations, but yeah, through my mom.
It's amazing. I mean, I have a sister in Colorado. She's never had a cell phone, never had a computer, never been on the internet. And she's, 2 years older than me. And when I want to send her pictures, I have to actually print them out and mail them to her.
That's what I had to do when my son was born back in '96. So nobody got to see the, picture. I overnighted the pictures to my parents so that they would see it.
She has nothing to do with all this technology. I don't know how she watches TV, but I guess she still has disc cable, I guess, because she doesn't have the internet at our house.
Instagram, so.
Huh?
At age 60, I had to learn Instagram.
Yeah, my husband, he knows how to order on Amazon, and that's about it. As long as he can order from Amazon, he's happy. But everything else I do for him. I saw a couple more questions here, but I wanted to put up this one. Where'd it go? It went away. Hold on.
Oh yeah, there's a part 2 to why I decided to write books too. My grandfather was publisher and editor of his town newspaper in Wyoming, and during the summers I would go and hang out down at the newspaper. And
okay. Now your son, he's 24. Your son is correct. He's 24.
He's 26.
26. I'm sorry. Has he read your books?
No, and he said he never ever will.
Did you say why?
Because of the romance. Because he doesn't. I jokingly tell him, I'm Roman Catholic, so no offense to anybody religiously, but he said he doesn't want to think of mom even holding the guy's hand. And I said, son, there was no star in the east when you were born, okay?
Right. Yeah, my son's read the Tammy Mellows trilogy because he's in it. My son is Matt.
Oh, yeah. So my son is Jack. Yeah, and he's a little upset I turned him into a teenage girl. He is.
Oh, okay.
Personality is Jasmine.
Right. Yeah, but my son will not go near the Sabella series. He's like, no, that's for the girls. That's for the women.
Well,
he won't read the
Slater and Sabella are rather, they're really.
Yeah, they can get pretty steamy together. But he has read the trilogy, so he did enjoy it, and he liked, how I, wrote about him, and it brought back really good memories for him because these are stories that would happen 20 years ago. But I remember that. So
he's heard a little bit about it. He works in F&B, food and beverage, and some of his female co-workers, when Don't Judge came out, and also Crimson, they got the book and everything else, and one of them, just to mess with him, read part of a love scene. And he was like, "Oh my God, how does she know these
That's
things?"
my mom.
Yeah,
That's
it's
my
like,
mom. Don't read anymore.
Mom, yeah, Mom never dated or did those things.
Aw, that's cool though. Kimberly wants to know, I think you just talked about it though. Do you have any more books coming? You said probably around Halloween.
Yeah, just because of this, I, in fact, had a conversation with my publisher last week, just because it has a little bit more of a suspense element to it. So I thought around Halloween would be good. So,
Okay. Do you have, I mean, Halloween is 10 months away and it has to go through the edits of anything. Do you have any idea? The title is what again?
Canary Nights.
Okay, I got to ask, why that title? How'd you come up with that title?
Without giving it away, there are things happening in Sanctuary, and there keeps on being a section of the town where there are that the sky is kind of a canary yellow, and
Oh, okay.
and the main character ends up moving there, and she moves there from Cincinnati, and all a school, high school science teacher, and she kind of questions it, and everybody kind of is like, "You're imagining it. It's not that way." So, yeah.
Now, if readers started asking questions after you write this book, do you think you'll continue on with the second book like you did with Journey?
I don't know.
No?
I don't know because we'll be ending the ending. I'm doing a lot of research on it because it has a little bit more of a sciencey thing. Yes, I'm a daughter of a scientist, but I was more like my mother, the arts and literature area. So I have a couple of really good reference points, and it depends upon how graphic and stuff it's going to get at the end.
Okay. And when did you start writing the book?
Last year, in fact, I did a road trip to.
Okay, did we just lose you? Come back. I think I just lost Ashley. Hopefully she'll come back in a minute. I want to see you. Ashley, are you there? There you go. We lost you for a second.
Because my internet didn't go out. I have no clue why that happened.
Technology for you, and that's what happens when we're live.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay. You're back now. That's what matters.
Yeah, but yeah, the town is really based on certain people will recognize the town and understand why I had to change its location.
Okay.
And everything. So I went to that town and visited it and did a bunch of notes and everything. And it's funny how when you go back somewhere and you're like, oh, you remember it kind of differently. So I'm glad I went back. But yeah, I always have notebooks with me. I have notebooks all over my house, my car, my nightstand.
Do you have a favorite place?
Things will come up and I'll be
you
like,
just never know. Yep. Do you have a favorite place where you like to write?
Or, yeah.
Do you have a favorite place you like to write?
The beach.
You do like to write away from home?
Or the marina, near the water.
Okay. And you don't need to have complete silence when you write.
No, I don't. I have to have kind of white noise. Music is a very big, well, my mother was a pianist, and yeah, she was a very talented woman. And so I've grown up with all kinds of music, like Don't Judge, which people will find out because I make reference to it and everything. I listen to a lot of old school R&B. Don't Judge was Luther Vandross.
Mm-hmm.
Crimson Moonlight was Jeffrey Osborne, and Journey was a whole lot of Adele. In fact, you remember in my acknowledgments, I acknowledge Adele,
I love Adele.
And her lyrics and how it got me through a dark period in my life.
And it helped, I'm sure. But I'm looking at the time, and you are going to give us a live read, which I'm excited about. But before we do that, I'm going to read my review from this book.
Okay. Yes,
So
please.
I've read both the books. I really enjoyed them, and I really appreciate my review being on the back cover. Thank you so much. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
I was so honored you did that for me.
Oh, I enjoyed the read, so thank you so much. So I'll read my review, and then I'm going to hand it over to you, and we get to enjoy you reading first. Okay? So this is the review that I wrote for this one. This is book 2. Ashley Cobb Post did a good job capturing the emotions of real family issues that many will relate to. An engaging story with an explosive beginning that pulls you in and continues to keep you engaged. An unexpected surprise ending that I didn't see coming. Thank you for the enjoyable read, and I'm looking forward to more books from this author. And now we get to hear you read.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Before I read the chapter, if it's okay, I just want to read you the dedication. Like I said, the theme is family. I didn't start out my books that way, but they kind of turned out. And the 4th one, it's kind of family's big theme too. But the dedication is to the memory of Dr. Richard. Honored, he taught me that family can be inherited or chosen without restrictions. And that's dedicated to the memory of my father.
That's nice.
Okay, and this is chapter 2. This is like I said, I do present and past. This is a past chapter. Okay, chapter 2. Kenny stared at the luminous March sunrise outside of the guest bedroom. The 32-year-old body's alarm system no longer allowed him to be still. He had showered and must make the decision of what to wear. It was such an easy process, but his head felt like it would explode if he had to make one more decision after the insanity of the past week. Kenny's muscular tan complexion legs slid into his jeans. Then he covered his tall, well-toned physique with the denim shirt. As he exited the room, the urge overcame him to proceed to the master bedroom. He paused before opening the door. Slowly, he entered the room as he remembered their last memorable time together. Last night, he could have slept there, but she would not have been by his side. The loss of her presence would have been unbearable. Suddenly, he realized he wasn't alone, hearing her sobbing. She held his hand and guided him to the hallway as he looked down at her angelic face. Kenny was compelled to comfort Jasmine. Her almost 8-year-old small frame shook gently in his arms as he bent to her level. No words were spoken. Moments later, she pulled back and motioned for him to follow her. They descended down the grand staircase to the kitchen. Kenny prepared a light breakfast for them as they ate in silence. Only a week ago, Francesca had shared a similar meal with them. They were a Norman Rockwell picture of happiness. Then Kenny was a husband, along with being father to this amazing little girl. How could Francesca have left them? The love of his life had made him a single parent at his early age. He wanted to scream, but had to be strong for Jasmine's sake. Words of wisdom couldn't be formed as Kenny wanted to shield her from this pain.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was chapter 2.
Yes.
Chapter 2. Thank you so much. I love it when authors read, and I say this every time because when I read another book from you, I'm going to hear your voice, and it's like you're reading to me, and I'm sure other readers feel the same way. Okay, Kimberly has another question for you. She wants to know, because you just read to us, and thank you so much.
You're
I'm going to put some comments up first. Thank you, Ashley, for the live read.
You're welcome.
And Karen says, thank you. Wonderful read. Karen, thank you. I saw a couple more I just want to put up. Here's one from Pat. Wow, now I want to know if she left voluntarily or did she pass away? Lori says, I love your reading. There we go. And here's another one. One more. They're all coming up now. That sounds interesting. And Sherry says, I will be reading your books. And I do want to put, if I can find it now, here it is. Kimberly wants to know, is it weird to read what you wrote?
Sometimes it depends upon the scene. I haven't had, like, I haven't done a live read just because of the platforms of the love scenes, but sometimes I reread the love scenes, and I do have some fade to black, but the majority of my love scenes are like Tina's. They're not fade to black. There's some imagination in there, but yeah, you know exactly what's going on. And so I think I might be a little embarrassed to do a live read on that. But sometimes I read that and I was like, oh my God, I was in a mood or I was in the zone.
Right, exactly. I mean, I tried to write a fade to black, but I'm like, well, that's not fair to the reader. So
Yeah, I know. Well, some of them, like what I'm doing right now with this one with Canary Nights, because yeah, I always seem to do two men involved with this one woman and stuff. Which Abigail's my main character, and I have Nick, who's her interracial relationship, and then William, who's 10 years older than her. And it's like I'm not quite ready to William's in the future, or actually, I guess the present, and Nick's in the past. So I don't want to reveal too much right away with the one character. I want to give you some more of his background, which will be more in depth and everything else. So I've been doing some fade to black. And
there you go. And readers have a preference. They either want to see the whole show, or they want fade to black, or they want clean.
Yeah.
And if you let the readers know prior to...
Yeah, don't read my second one. My second one, my theory was it's about two 20-year-olds, and it's more, I'd say, the romance level, it's more Harlequin romance.
Okay.
One scene is almost quite erotica, but definitely, yeah, super steamy. Whereas 1 and 3, it's more Lifetime Network.
It's steamy. Yeah. Speaking of genres and what you write, Karen has a question for you. She wants to know, would you write a different genre?
Well, I'm kind of getting into that with this fourth book. There's romance, but I'm getting more suspense in it. So that's a little bit different.
So like a romance suspense, but it's interracial still. You'll still stick with no matter what you write.
Do what I know.
Right.
Yeah.
So no matter what genre you write, it'll always be interracial, you think?
Yeah, it will. When I was married, I was married to...
Right. Yeah. And like you said, write what you know.
I was married to a white Jewish guy. Go figure. And then the one time I got married, white Jewish guy. But yeah, I've always pretty much done interracial just because of where I grew.
That's where you're from, and that's what you experienced. And then Karen wants to know, well, she did if I could find her. Sorry, Karen, hold on. I just saw your question and now it's gone. Teach me not to pay attention. Okay, here it is. Karen wants to know, what genres do you like to read?
Suspense. Yes. As a matter of fact, I'm finishing up I started reading her because she writes about Atlanta and lives in Atlanta. Kimberly Bell. She just came out with a new book 2 weeks ago that I'm reading, The Personal Assistant. And you think you have it figured out or part of it, and she does this twist.
Yeah, I've read a couple of books, and she's been on my show I think once last year. She was on my show too. So she
did My Darling Husband, which had a nice little twist to it. I enjoyed that. And when I've been places, I enjoy reading, those locations. I lived in Atlanta and I did my paramedic training there and everything else. So, yeah. Oh, that's the other thing about this book. Well, don't judge, but yeah, the opening scene, there's quite a bit of medical talk with Journey, which is present and all. And I'm a former medic,
You're a
so
film medic, so you have that experience and you have that background.
yeah,
And
we'll
your
get a
books
little
all take
technical.
place. Your books all take place of where you've been, where you've lived, pretty
Hmm.
much. So you know the area.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's my biggest pet peeve. We won't say which series of books, but kids aren't going to be having picnic lunches in the snow in the winter at high school. So,
Right.
but it's a very popular series, but that drives me insane. Or when I go to a movie and I see a glitch, I'm like, no.
No, 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 no. I hear you on that one. Pat has a question for you, Pat Feo. She
Yeah.
says, if you were going to switch genres, what genre would you pick?
Suspense.
That was easy.
Well, just because with the Mary Higgins Clark and everything else, I've just gotten into that. And actually, I'm a big fan of Nicholas Sparks, and he
Okay.
does quite a few suspense. He has little
Yes.
suspense. They're love stories, but he puts some twists and turns in there you didn't see coming.
Mm-hmm. Well, like the Notebook.
Yeah, or yeah, Last Christmas. Oh my Lord, yeah, that was definitely
That one I haven't read.
two Kleenex boxes.
Oh, see,
The Wish.
Noble was sad, but
Yeah, The
you know, there's a
Wish.
few books that I've read once and it's so sad. It's like I can't read this again, but
Well,
um
I have certain books like that because they're close to home and everything. Patty Callahan came out with a wonderful book about a year and a half ago called My Favorite Daughter. And the father has Alzheimer's, and my mother also had Alzheimer's. So it was just very, close to home.
I can believe that. My father-in-law had Alzheimer's and then my mother had dementia. And I've never really understood the difference between the two. I mean, I've tried to have it explained to me, but I just don't know how you can tell the difference between dementia and Alzheimer's.
Well, Alzheimer's, there's no cure, and it's more progressive.
Uh-huh.
And it's like the difference between stage 1 and stage 4 of cancer. One is
Okay.
further down the road than the other,
Okay. Well, no,
and
you
it's going to
explain it
happen.
better than some people because I just can never see I mean, I saw my father-in-law, and I saw my
Yeah.
mother, and it seemed like identical of what they were experiencing. It was just one was, dementia, and one was Alzheimer's. But anyways, I want to pop this up. Peggy says, this is Peggy Patterson, I'm assuming. She's in our group, so we couldn't
Yeah,
see her
I know.
name, but I didn't know that. So Peggy is with us. She says hi. But Peggy, you're in my Read More Books group, which is why your name is not showing because it's a private group. But once the chat's ended, then I'll be able to see your name. But I'm glad you're here, Peggy. I just want to pop it up
Hi.
and let you know that I saw your message, and I'm glad you are joining us. When you're not reading or writing, what hobbies do you have? What do you do for you? And you can't
For
say
me,
reading.
um, I love I love cooking, and I love going hanging out on the beach, anything beach related. And then, of course, doing anything arts related.
Okay.
I'm a huge supporter of the arts. In fact, I worked at a art school for over 10 years.
Oh, that must have been
And
fun.
my
Do you
son,
are you do you draw or paint too?
theater. In fact,
Oh,
in a past life, as I call BA before Alexander, before my son Alexander, I worked off Broadway doing costuming in New York.
oh, what fun!
Yeah. So that was a past life, and I grew up in a community theater. Yeah,
Okay,
I lived it, breathed. Yeah, I was the backstage person, whereas my son, he's the triple threat. He acts, sings, and dances.
okay. Now,
So
where did that come from? Were your parents involved in theater?
Well, my parents were big supporters of theater and the symphony and opera. In fact, the year after my mother died during the summer, and so that next year in September, when they kicked off the symphony, the Knoxville Symphony in Knoxville, Tennessee, um, they dedicated the season to her. They were
Oh,
that big
wow.
supporters to her, and they were big supporters of. It was called Oak Ridge Playhouse, and everything else. In fact, the Kenny character. That's how him and I met. We grew up doing theater. He was the actor, though.
Okay, now you talk about Kenny. The real person, does he know it's based on him?
Oh yeah, I got his permission. I've had
Okay.
people say, "Can I meet Kenny?" And I hate to burst your bubble. Kenny is very happily married, living in California, and very happily married. And my Kenny character, he's a pediatric neurosurgeon, whereas the real Kenny, he is, yeah, very well respected social worker. In fact, he was president of the California Social Workers Association. So he's very
Wow.
well respected and everything. But oh yeah, no, he knows. And yeah, him and I were never romantically involved. We were like brother and sister.
Right.
But yeah,
Just like family. Just like family.
yeah, oh yeah, he's definitely, yeah. We grew up together and stuff. Our families knew each other in this
And then
small town.
Kathy wants to know, how do you decide on your venues?
You mean the different places that come up?
I'm assuming she means where your book is for sale, whether it be. Now, correct me if I'm
Oh,
wrong,
okay.
Kathy, but I'm reading it as where she wants a book to be sold, like bookstores, ebooks, Kindle, and that's what I'm thinking. But
Okay.
I might
I
be
do
totally
independent
misreading it.
bookstores. It's on Amazon just because that's the beast of the business. But I do my book signings. There's a very good bookstore in the Goose Creek, South Carolina area called Turning Page, and it's the only minority owned, African American owned bookstore in all of South Carolina.
Okay, and are your books available in Kindle Unlimited?
A couple, the first two are.
Okay.
I didn't make that decision with Journey. I might later
Mm-hmm.
on, but Crimson you can get as ebook, and also Don't Judge is available on ebook too.
And then I'm sure anyone can go to any bookstore worldwide and order your book to pick up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Actually, with Don't Judge, all of them are paperback, but Don't Judge is hard copy with available through Barnes and Noble. I got
Sweet.
that deal with them several months ago. Yeah, I was so thrilled.
Do you think you'll be putting any on audio?
I was thinking about doing that. I was thinking about doing Don't Judge and eventually doing Journey. My dream would be for Don't Judge
Yeah,
to
I want to
become.
put the Tammy Mallows trilogy on audio. That's one of the things I want to do this year. Well, not this year,
That would be good.
2023.
I would love to do a friend of mine, and she just got an award for debuts for best screenplay. Her debut screenplay. She turned one of her books, and now she has. I believe it's Netflix is going to
Oh,
be
nice. No, I would
picking
love a
it up.
deal like that.
So I would love for Don't Judge. In fact, I have the perfect actress I want for for
You got it
Friends
all laid out.
to go to Netflix. Yeah, yeah. The way she looks and carries herself and everything would be perfect. She's already doing a Netflix series now anyway, so
That's what I want. I want
and
a
she's in
Netflix
Atlanta
series, and
doing
I
it,
want
so it would be perfect.
yeah.
But yeah,
But no,
that
my
would be.
goal is to get the trilogy out on audio, and I don't want to do it with one book and then the reader have to wait too
Yeah.
long for the next. So I want to have them all done, and then I can release them all together. Because I don't think it's fair to the reader, to listen to one audiobook and then, okay, I'm waiting for the next one to get
I
done.
like audiobooks, especially when I'm driving or sitting in traffic or whatever, or traveling.
Yeah. So I want to get them all done, find the narrator, and that's one of my first things I want to do in the new year. Get them completed, get the covers done, and then put them out there all together, all in 1 week.
Yeah, I would love to do audio for the book 1 and book 2. The first
Yeah,
one.
that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
I would love to do that. And like I said, Don't Judge, have it be a Netflix.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it'll take place in Atlanta and Charleston, and they're both known for having movies.
There you go. Let's call Netflix up. Let's call them.
Yeah.
Get our books on Netflix. Come on, readers, call us. Call Netflix. I'm looking at the time. We are coming up to the hour. I tell you, these chats go by real quick. But I always like to ask a final question, and it's always the same question. But I would like to ask you, for an aspiring writer, author, that wants to have books published, and maybe is striving for that, what advice would you give them?
Go to author signings, because you never know when one of those authors is also a publisher. That's how I got mine.
There you go.
Or look at, it's really hard. I started out trying for years, looking for an agent and doing so many query letters, and kind of gave up going the traditional route. And then once I decided I wanted to go the indie route, I found several publishers in the Charleston area. And like I said, through the book signings and everything, did that. But yeah, I would say do that. And I did want to say, with Journey and stuff, this one was my hardest book to write, because I had been with somebody for a couple of years, and we had recently split. And so this was about grief. So I was going through my own grief, and I'll share. I went through a couple of months of very severe depression and everything else. So this was great therapy. And it also brought up the emotions of my parents basically dying back to back. They were together for 66 years.
Oh, wow.
So this book was a really tough book, and it was my longest book. It's over, 300 pages. I didn't mean for it to be longer than Don't Judge, but I felt certain things needed to be said in it and everything.
Yeah, and we write, whatever the story needs. So, and if the story needs, more chapters, more words, then we do it. But you got to give it the full story. You can't just give it half a story. So it's a great book. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Now you are doing a giveaway. So I'm
Yes,
going to let you tell the readers what that is.
Okay. For which I have done on your site before, but those that haven't been there, it's paperback book. It's going to be autographed and personalized to you. And also, you can't really see it, but it's a customized bookmark. And on it says, "A Journey to Repentance." And it has the quote, "We have all chosen each other. Nothing will separate us." Dr. Kenny Underwood.
Love that.
So I'm going to be giving that away.
I love that. Now, do you want to pick the winner, or would you like me to pick the winner for you?
You can go ahead and do it. And
you sure?
If it ends up being somebody who has already won it, you can give it as a gift.
Do me a favor, readers. If you happen to receive this book and you're not entering, just put "not entering" under your name. But then again, like Ashley said, you might want a second copy for a gift. So you are allowed to win again. But if I've already read the book, you're not entering, just put a NE underneath your name so I know not to include you in the drawing. Otherwise, you are all entered in the drawing for watching this live. I will announce it tonight in my group, and I'll tag you. And I'll also announce it on my author page in a couple of hours. But I'm also doing my regular giveaway, which I know most of you know. Oh, I see Ruth's name. I got to put her up because I never see her name there. It's always Facebook user. But I want to say a shout out to, where'd she go? Ruth, I just saw you. Where'd she go? There she is. Ruth Benson.
Hi, Ruth.
There it is. There she is. Because sometimes I see her as a Facebook user because she's in my group. So I'm happy to see that she's on the author page, I think. Maybe she gave permission. Anyways, I'm doing my regular, okay, brain freeze. Sorry, I'm getting there. Okay. Trying to do 3 things at once here. My regular giveaway, which is a $5 Amazon gift card. And most of you know how to be entered in that. You need to go to my author page and you need to share this video and tag me so I know that you shared, and you will be entered in the drawing for the $5 Amazon gift card. You can share it anywhere you like, in your favorite groups, on your pages, on your friends' pages, wherever you want to share it, but make sure you tag me. And I want to thank Ashley for joining me this evening. It's been a lot of fun. And when your next book comes out, we got to get you back on. So we got to schedule you in.
I'll let you know about that. And I do want to do a shout out because I see she came in late. Somebody we were discussing earlier, a big follower.
Renee?
Appreciate her. Yeah, Renee. Hello, Renee.
I saw a comment that she said she was frozen or we were frozen, one of the two. So hi, Renee. And then Wendy says she was late, but hi, Wendy. We see you.
Hi, Wendy.
Patty says, thank you, Tina. And Patty, apology, because she had mentioned that someone could remind her. And I think I wrote, I will try, but obviously I didn't do a good job. Because
that's not hard.
So, Patty, I'm glad that you made it. Thank you for joining us. And thank you, readers. And I do want to just let you know that this Friday, December 30th, I will be going live in the group and on my author page for a solo chat, which I like to do once a month, but it's been actually 6 weeks because of Christmas. So I will be doing it this Friday with giveaways and news of what to expect from me. And it's a day before my birthday and the New Year. So I might do a special birthday giveaway. We shall see what kind of mood I'm in.
I will try to be there. I'm sorry. My blood runs orange. And we are in one of the top bowl games. I'm
fun.
UT Vols fan. Yeah, it's going to be real orange in Miami. The Orange Bowl, the 2 teams, Clemson and UT Vols. Orange is both of their colors. So,
well, I hope your team wins and let us know how they
do. Thank you.
All right. Well, good night, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Bye. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Happy holidays.